conclusion that one useless man is called a disgrace, that two are called a law firm, and that three or more become a Congress, and by God, I have had this Congress. For 10 years, King George and his Parliament have gulled, cullied, and diddled these colonies with their illegal taxes. Stamp Act, Townsend Act, Sugar Act, Tea Act. And when we dared stand up like men, they stopped our trade, seized our ships, blockaded our ports, burned our towns, and spilled our blood, and still, this Congress has not granted any of my proposals on independence, even so much as the courtesy of open debate. Good God, what in the hell are they waiting for?
Sit down, John. Sit down, John. For God's sake, John, sit down. Sit down, John. Sit down, John. For God's sake, John, sit down. Open up a window. It's 90 degrees. Have mercy, John, please. It's hot as hell in Philadelphia.
Open up a window. I say vote yes, vote yes, vote for independency.
Someone ought to open up a window.
I say vote yes.
Sit down, John.
Vote for independency.
Open up a window.
No, no, no. Too many flies. Too many flies. But it's hot as hell in Philadelphia. Open up a window. Can't we compromise here?
Vote yes.
No, too many flies here.
Vote yes.
Oh, for God's sake, John, sit down.
Good God! Consider yourselves fortunate you have John Adams to abuse, for no sane man could tolerate it.
John, you're a bore. We've heard this before. Now, for God's sake, John, sit down.
I say vote yes.
No.
Vote yes.
No.
Vote for independency.
Someone ought to open up a window.
I say vote yes.
Sit down, John.
Vote for independency.
Will someone shut this man up?
Never! Never! Dear God! For one solid year they've been sitting here. For 1 year. Doing nothing. I do believe you've laid a curse on North America. A curse that we hear now rehearsing Philadelphia. A second flood, a simple famine, plagues of locusts everywhere. Or a cataclysmic earthquake, I'd accept with some despair. But no, you sent us Congress. Good God, sir, was that fair? I say this with humility in Philadelphia, where your responsibility in Philadelphia. If you don't want to see us hanging on some far-off British hill, if you don't want the voice of independency forever still, then God, sir, get thee to it, for Congress never will. You see, we piddle, twiddle, and resolve. Not one damn thing do we solve. Piddle, twiddle, and resolve. Nothing's ever solved in foul, beaten, human, poor, and filthy Philadelphia. Oh, shut up.
I now call Congress's attention to the petition of Mr. Melchior Meng, who claims $20 compensation for his dead mule. It seems the animal was employed transporting luggage in the service of the Congress.
The question then would appear to be one of occasion, for if the mule expired not while carrying, but after being unloaded, then surely the beast dropped dead on his own time.
Good God! They may sit here for years and years in Philadelphia. These indecisive grenadiers of Philadelphia. They can't agree on what is right or wrong, or what is good or bad. I'm convinced the only purpose this Congress ever had was to gather here, specifically to drive John Adams mad. You see, we piddle, twiddle, and resolve. Not one damn thing do we solve. Piddle, twiddle, and resolve. Nothing's ever solved in foul, beaten, fuming, bargain, filthy Philadelphia.
John, is that you?
desire to knock heads together.
Oh, I know, my dearest, I know. But that's because you make everything so complicated. It's all quite simple, really. Just tell the Congress to declare independency. Then sign your name, get out of there, and hurry home to read. Our children all have dysentery. Little Tom keeps turning blue. Little Abby has the measles, and I'm coming down with flu. They say we may get smallpox.
Madam, what else is new? Abigail, in my last letter, I told you the king has collected 12,000 German mercenaries to send against us. I asked you to organize the ladies and make saltpeter for gunpowder. Have you done as I asked?
No, John, I have not.
Well, why have you not?
Because you neglected to tell us how saltpeter is made.
By treating sodium nitrate with potassium chloride, of course.
Oh, yes, of course.
Will it be done then?
I'm afraid we have a more urgent problem, John.
What urgent matter?
There's one thing every woman's missed in Massachusetts Bay. Don't smirk at me, you egotist. Pay heed to what I say. We've gone from Framingham to Boston, and we cannot find a pin. Don't you know that there's a war on, says each tradesman with a grin. Well, we will not make saltpeter until you send us pins.
Pins, madam. Saltpeter.
Pins.
Saltpeter.
Pins.
Saltpeter. Saltpeter. Peter. 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 Done, madam. Done.
Done, John. Hurry home, John.
As soon as I'm able.
Don't stop writing. It's all I have.
Every day, my dearest friend.
Till then, I am as I ever was and ever shall be. Yours, 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 yours.
Saltpeter. John.
For God's sake, John, sit down.
Franklin! Franklin! Where in God's name were you when I needed you?
Right here, John. Being preserved for posterity. Do you like it?
It stinks.
As ever, the soul of tact.
Well, the man's no bonnet chef.
And the subject's no Venus.
Franklin, you heard what I suffered in there.
Heard? Of course I heard, along with the rest of Philadelphia. Lord, your voice is piercing, John.
I wish to heaven my arguments were. By God, Franklin, when will they make up their minds? With one hand, they can raise an army, dispatch one of their own to lead it, and cheer the news from Bunker's Hill, while with the other, they wave the olive branch, begging the king for a happy and permanent reconciliation. Why, damn it, Fat George has declared us in rebellion. Why in bloody hell can't they?
John, you behave as if independence were the rule. It's never been done before. No colony has ever broken from the parent stem in the history of the world.
Damn it, Franklin, you make us sound treasonous.
Do I? Treason. Treason is a charge invented by winners as an excuse for hanging the loser.
I have more to do than stand here listening to you force yourself.
No, that was a new one.
Damn it, Franklin, we're at war.
To defend ourselves, nothing more. We expressed our displeasure. The English moved against us, and we in turn have resisted. Now our fellows in Congress want to effect a reconciliation before it becomes a war.
Reconciliation, my ass. The people want independence.
The people have read Mr. Paine's Common Sense. I doubt the Congress has. John, why don't you give it up? Nobody listens to you. You're obnoxious and disliked.
I am not promoting John Adams. I am promoting independence.
Evidently, they cannot help connecting the two.
What are you suggesting?
Let somebody else in Congress propose.
Never! Why? Who do you have in mind?
Oh, I don't know. I really hadn't given it much thought.
You sent for me, Benjamin?
Never!
Hello, Johnny.
Richard?
Richard, John and I need some advice.
Well, it's mine to give, it's yours. You know that, Benjamin.
Thank you, Richard. Now, the cause that we have supported has come to a complete standstill. Why do you suppose is that?
Oh, simple. Johnny here's obnoxious and disliked.
Yes, that's true. What's the solution, I wonder?
Get someone else in Congress to propose.
Richard, that was brilliant. Wasn't that brilliant, John?
Brilliant.
Now, the question remains, who can it be? The man we need must belong to a delegation publicly committed to support independence, and so far, only Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Delaware have declared our way.
And Virginia, Benji. Don't forget Virginia.
Oh, I'm not forgetting Virginia. How could I? But, strictly speaking, while Virginia's views on independence are well known, your legislature in Williamsburg has never formally authorized its delegation here in Congress to support the cause. Now, if we could just find a Virginian with enough influence to go down there and convince the House of Burgesses...
Damn me if I haven't thought of someone.
Who? Me! Why didn't I think of that?
Why, I'll leave tonight. Well, hell, I'll leave right now if you like. I'll just stop off at Stratford long enough to refresh the missus. And then straight to the matter. Virginia, the land that gave us our glorious commander-in-chief, George Washington, will now give this continent its proposal on independence. And where Virginia proposes, well, the South is bound to follow. And where the South goes, the middle colonies go. Gentlemen, a salute to Virginia, the mother of American independence.
Incredible. We're free, and he hasn't even left yet. What makes you so sure you can do it?
Ah! My name is Richard Henry Lee, Virginia is my home. My name is Richard Henry Lee, Virginia is my home. And may my horses turn to glue if I can't deliver unto you a resolution on independency. For I am FFV, the first family in the sovereign colony of Virginia. Yes, the FFV, the oldest family in the oldest colony in America. And may the British burn my land if I can't deliver to your hand a resolution on independency. You see, it's here, there, and everywhere,
Socially, politically, financially, naturally, internally, externally, fraternally, eternally.
The first family in the sovereign colony of Virginia. And may my wife refuse my bed if I can't deliver, as I said, a resolution on independency.
Spoken modestly, God help us.
Oh, he will, Johnny, he will. They say that God in heaven is everybody's God.
Amen.
God admit that God in heaven is everybody's God. But I tell you, John, with pride, God leans a little on the side in the leaves of old Virginia. You see, it's here, there, everywhere, here, there, everywhere. Look out, there's Arthur Lee, Bobby Lee, with General Lighthouse Harry Lee, Jesse Lee, Willie Lee,
And Richard H.
that's me. And may my blood stop running blue if I can't deliver unto you a resolution on independency. And so, my God, it's here, there, come on, boys, join in with me. Here, there,
When do you leave?
immediately, here, there,
When do you return?
shortly, here, there, and I'll come back triumphantly. Here, there, everywhere, forward,
the most revolting display I've ever witnessed.
They're a warm-blooded people, Virginians.
Not him, Franklin. You. You and your infernal obsession for deviousness. If you'd come right out and ask him straight, he'd been gone half an hour ago.
Cheer up, John. Right now our cause is riding high again, sitting straight in the saddle and at full gallop for Virginia.
And all women are serene, full-bosomed.
Full-bosomed?
Full-bosomed, everyone clean. Why, they are least, damn it, least of all Virginia. And so, my God, it's here to leave, there to leave. Come on, John, step lively. Here to leave, there to leave, everywhere to leave and leave. Here to leave, there to leave, everywhere to leave and leave. Here to leave, there to leave, everywhere to leave and leave. Forward! Oh!
Yes?
I'm Dr. Lyman Hall, the new delegate from Georgia.
Well, I'm Andrew McNair, Congressional custodian. If you want anything at all, you just holler out McNair like you'll hear all the others, and there won't be too long to wait.
Where does the Georgia delegation belong?
Oh, they mill about over in that corner somewhere near the two Carolinas.
Deputy Clark. I was told that Congress convenes at 10.
Oh, they'll be along any minute now, with old Grape and Guts leading the way.
Old who?
McNair!
Grape and Guts.
McNair! McNair, fetch me a mug of rum.
Mr. Hopkins, you'll be pleased to meet Dr. Lyman Hall.
Oh, I don't need a doctor, damn it.
New delegate from Georgia.
Why didn't you say so? I'm Stephen Hopkins, old delegate from Rhode Island. McNair, fetch 2 mugs of rum.
Oh, I fear it's a little early in the day.
Oh, nonsense. It's a medicinal fact that rum helps get a man's heart started in the morning. I'm surprised you didn't know that. And speaking as the oldest man in Congress,
Ben Franklin's older by almost a year.
rum! Tell me, Dr. Hall, where does Georgia stand on the question of independence?
With South Carolina, of course.
Nettie, come shake the hand of Dr. Lyman Hall of Georgia. Dr. Hall, this here's Edward Rutledge from, well, whichever Carolina he says he's from. God knows I can't keep him straight.
A pleasure, Dr. Hall.
Your servant, Mr. Rutledge.
Well, now you've met the long and the short of it. Nettie here's 26, the youngest of us.
Except for Ben Franklin.
McNair!
You're wrong!
Where did you go for it, man? Jamaica?
Where does Georgia stand on the question of independence at the present time, Dr. Hall?
Well, I'm here without instructions, able to vote my own personal conviction.
And they are?
Personal?
Dr. Hall, the Team South speaks with one voice. It is traditional.
Once
Even more.
I
It
never heard
is showing.
anything like that in my life. Never in my life. Ridiculous.
Enter Delaware. Triayucta in uno.
Speak plain, Rutledge. You know I can't understand any of your damn French.
Land, Colonel McKee, a tribute to the eternal peace and harmony of the Delaware delegation.
What are you saying, man? You know perfectly well that neither Rodney nor I can stand this little wart.
Gentlemen, this is Dr. Lyman Hall of Georgia, Mr. Caesar Rodney, Colonel Thomas McKeon, and Mr. George Reed.
Sir, where do you stand on independence?
With South Carolina, you see.
I leave the doctor in your excellent company, gentlemen.
Tell me, sir, are you a doctor of medicine or theology?
Oh, both, Mr. Rodman. Which may be of service.
By all means, the physician first. Then we shall see about the other.
Then I'll call it your convenience, sir.
I trust, Caesar, that when you're through converting the poor fellow to independency, you'll give the other side a fair crack at him.
You're too late, John. When I get him, they're got. Dr. Lyman Hall of Georgia, Mr. John Dickinson of Pennsylvania.
An honor, sir.
Your servant.
Judge Wilson, forgive me. But how do you expect anyone to see you if you insist upon standing in Mr. Dickinson's shadow? Lyman Hall of Georgia, Mr. James Wilson of Pennsylvania.
Sir. An honor, sir.
Will you get out of my way, please? Good morning, all.
Good morning, man.
Good Lord. Did you have the honor to be Dr. Benjamin Franklin?
Yes, I have that honor. Unfortunately, the gout accompanies the honor.
Been living up too much, eh, Pappy?
Stephen, I wish that King George felt like my big toe, all over.
McNair, fetch your pillow. And another mug of rum.
Well, Franklin, where's that idiot Lee? Has he returned yet? I don't see him.
Softly, John, your voice is hurting my foot.
One more day, Franklin. That's how long I'll remain silent. Not a minute longer. That strutting pop today was so damn sure of himself. He's had time to bring back a dozen proposals by now.
Tell me, James, how do you explain the strange, monumental quietude that Congress has been treated to these past 30 days? Has the ill wind of independence finally blown itself out?
Well, if you
As
ask
for
me,
me, I must say that a month free from New England noise is more therapeutic than a month in the country. Wouldn't you agree, James?
I have to say
Mr. Adams, pray look for your voice, sir. It cannot be far, and God knows we need the entertainment in this Congress.
Congratulations, John. You just made your biggest contribution to independence. You kept your flap shut.
One more day.
Gentlemen, the usual morning festivities concluded. I now call this Congress to order. Reprise.
The Second Continental Congress, meeting in the city of Philadelphia, is now in session. 7 June 1776, the 380th meeting.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
The Honorable John Hancock of Massachusetts Bay, President.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mr. McNair, the stores of rum and other drinking spirits are hereby closed to the colony of Rhode Island for a period Mr. Hopkins, you have abused the privilege. The chair takes this opportunity to welcome Dr. Lyman Hall of Georgia to this Congress and hopes he will make the best of it. My God, it is hot. The secretary will read the roll.
All members present with the following exceptions: Mr. Charles Carroll of Maryland, Mr. Samuel Adams of Massachusetts, Mr. Button Winnard of Georgia, Mr. George Wythe, and Mr. Richard Henry Lee of Virginia, and the entire delegation of New Jersey.
I'm concerned over the continued absence of 1/13 of this Congress. Where is New Jersey?
Somewhere between New York and Pennsylvania.
Thank you very much. Dr. Franklin, have you heard anything? Your son resides there.
Son, sir? What son?
The Royal Governor of New Jersey, sir.
As that title might suggest, sir, we are not in touch at the present time.
Yes, very well. The weather report. Mr. Jefferson of Virginia. Mr. Jefferson.
present, sir.
May we hear about the weather, as if it weren't speaking for itself.
87 degrees of temperature, 30.06 inches of mercury, wind from the southwest for the rest of the day. Tonight I'm leaving for home.
On business?
Family business.
Give her a good one for me, young fella.
Yes, sir, I will.
From the Commander, Army of the United Colonies in New York, dispatch number 1137.
Oh, sweet
To
Jesus.
the Honorable Congress, John Hancock, President, dear sir. It is with grave apprehension that I have learned this day of the sailing from Halifax, Nova Scotia, of a considerable force of British troops in the company of foreign mercenaries and under the command of General Sir William Howe. There can be no doubt that their destination is New York, or to take and hold this city and the Hudson Valley beyond would serve to separate New England from the other colonies, permitting both sections to be crushed in turn. Sadly, I can see no way of stopping them at the present time, as my army is absolutely falling apart, my military chest is totally exhausted, my commissary general is strained his credit to the last, my quartermaster has no food, no arms, no ammunition, and my troops are in a state of near mutiny. I pray God some relief arise before the Armada, but fear it will not. Your obedience, Washington.
Mr. President!
continent to the head of our troops. Those dispatches are the most depressing accumulation of disaster, doom, and despair ever in the annals of military history. And furthermore, I'd like to add...
Oh, my
Please! What?
It's too hot.
Oh, I suppose so.
General Washington will continue wording his dispatches as he sees fit. And I'm sure we all pray he finds happier news to convey in the near future. Mr. Thompson, are there any resolutions?
Dr. Josiah Bartlett of New Hampshire.
Resolved, that for the duration of the present hostilities, the Congress discourage every type of extravagance and dissipation, elaborate funerals, and other expensive activities, especially all horse
Lee, is it done?
First things first, Tom, come! Your little bride wants to know.
What?
When's he coming home?
Never mind that, Lee. Is it done?
Done? Why, certainly. I have returned from Virginia with the following resolution. Resolved that these united colonies are, and of a right, ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that any political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is, and ought to be, totally dissolved!
I second the proposal.
The resolution has been proposed and seconded. The chair will now entertain debate.
Mr. President, Pennsylvania moves, as always, the question of independence be postponed indefinitely.
I second the motion.
Judge Wilson, in your eagerness to be loved, you seem to forget that Pennsylvania cannot second its own motion.
No way of seconds.
You would, you little weasel!
Motion to postpone has been moved and seconded. Thompson.
On the motion to postpone indefinitely the resolution of independency or proceed with the debate, all those in favor of debate say yea. All those for postponement say nay. New Hampshire.
New Hampshire favors debate and says yea.
Thank you. Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, having borne the brunt of the king's tyranny. Massachusetts now and for all time says yea.
Massachusetts says yea. Rhode Island. Mr. Hopkins, where's Rhode Island?
Rhode Island's out visiting the necessary.
After what Rhode Island's consumed, I can't say I'm surprised. Put the back of Mr. Thompson.
Rhode Island passes. Connecticut.
While Connecticut has till now been against this proposal, our legislature has instructed me that in the event it is introduced by any colony outside of New England, Connecticut could no longer withhold its support. Connecticut says yes.
Connecticut says yea. New York.
Mr. Secretary, New York abstains courteously.
New York abstains.
Courteously.
New Jersey. Absent, Mr. Secretary.
Yes, New Jersey is absent. Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, for the 24th time, says nay.
Pennsylvania says nay. Delaware.
Delaware, as ever for independence, says yea.
Aye.
Delaware says yea. Maryland.
Maryland would welcome independence if it were given, but is highly skeptical that it can be taken. Maryland says nay.
Maryland says nay. Virginia.
Virginia, the first colony, says yea.
Aye.
Virginia says yea. North Carolina.
North Carolina respectfully yields to South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Mr. President, although we in South Carolina have never seriously considered the question of independence, when a gentleman proposes it, attention must be paid. However, we in the Deep South, unlike our northern friends, have no cause for impatience at the present time. If at some future date it becomes the wish of all our sister colonies to effect a separation, we will not stand in the way. But for the time being, South Carolina will win. And watch, the vote is nay.
South Carolina says nay.
North Carolina
Says nay. Yes, Mr. Hughes. I know.
Georgia.
Mr. Secretary, Georgia seems to be split right down the middle on this issue. The people are against it, I'm for it. I'm afraid I'm not yet certain whether representing the people means relying upon their judgment or on my own. So, in all fairness, until I can figure it out, I better lean a little toward their side. Georgia says nay.
Georgia says nay. Rhode Island.
Second call, Rhode Island!
I'm coming! Hold your damn horses!
Waiting on you, Mr. Hopkins.
Well, it won't kill you. God, you'd think the Congress would have its own pisser. Well, where does she stand?
5 for debate, 5 for postponement, 1 abstention, and 1 absence.
So it's up to me, is it, huh? Well, I tell you, in all my years, I have never heard, seen, or smelled an issue that was so dangerous it couldn't be talked about. Hell yes, I'm for debating anything. Rhode Island says yes.
Get Mr. Hopkins a run!
What did you just say?
I'll give him the whole damn barrel if he wants! The chair now declares this Congress a committee of the whole for the purpose of debating Virginia's resolution on independence. Mr. Dickinson.
Well now, you've got your way at last. The matter may now be discussed. I must confess I'm almost relieved. There's a question I've been fairly itching to ask you. Why? Why what, Dickinson? Why independence, Mr. Adams? For the obvious reason that our continued association with Great Britain has grown intolerable. To whom, sir? To you. Then I suggest you sever your ties immediately. But please, be kind enough to leave the rest of us where we are. Personally, I have no objection to being part of the greatest empire on earth. To enjoying its protection, sharing its benefits.
Benefits? What benefits? Crippling taxes, cruel repressions, abolished rights.
Is that all that England means to you, sir? Is that all the pride and affection you can muster for the nation that bore you? For the noblest, most civilized nation on the face of this planet? Would you have us forsake Hastings and Magna Carta, Strongbow and Lionhearted, Drake and Marlborough, Tudors, Stuarts, and Plantagenets? For what, sir? Tell me, for what? For you? Some men are patriots, like General Washington. Some are anarchists, like Mr. Paine. Some even internationalists, like Dr. Franklin. But you, sir, you are merely an agitator. Disturbing the peace, creating disorder, endangering the public welfare. And for what? Your petty little personal complaints. Your taxes are too high. Well, sir, so are mine. Oh, Mr. Adams, if you have grievances, and I'm certain you have, our present system must provide a gentler means of redressing them, short of revolution. That's what he wants. Nothing short of it will satisfy him. Violence, rebellion, treason. Now, Mr. Adams, are these the acts of Englishmen? Not Englishmen, Dickinson, Americans. No, sir, Englishmen.
Please, Mr. Dickinson, but must you start begging? How is a man to sleep?
Forgive me, Dr. Franklin, but must you start speaking? How's a man to stay awake? We'll promise to keep quiet, sir. I'm sure we'd all prefer you remain asleep.
If I'm to hear myself called an Englishman, I assure you I'd prefer I'd remained asleep.
What's so terrible about being called an Englishman, sir? The English don't seem to mind.
Nor would I, were I given the full rights of an Englishman. But to call me one without those rights is like calling an ox a bull. He's thankful for the honor, but he'd much rather have restored what's rightfully his.
When did you first notice they were missing, sir? Fortunately, Dr. Franklin, the people of these colonies maintain a higher regard for their mother country.
Higher, certainly, than she does for them. Never has such a valuable possession been so stupidly and recklessly managed as this entire continent by the British Crown. Our industry discouraged, our resources pillaged, and worst of all, our very character stifled. We're spawned a new race here, rougher, simpler, more enterprising, more violent, less refined. We're a new nationality, Mr. Dickinson. We require a new nation.
Well, that may be your opinion, Dr. Franklin, but as I said, the people feel quite differently.
What do you know about the people, Dickinson? You don't speak for the people, you represent only yourself. And that precious status quo you keep imploring the people to observe for their good is nothing but the eternal preservation of your own property.
Mr. Adams, you have an annoying talent for making such delightful words as property sound quite distasteful. In heaven's name, sir, what is wrong with property? Perhaps you have forgotten that many of us first came to these shores in order to secure rights to property, and that we hold those rights no less dear than the rights you speak.
So safe, so flat, so comfortable in Pennsylvania.
And what is this independence of yours except the private grievance of Massachusetts? Why is it always Boston that breaks the king's peace? My dear Congress, you must not adopt this evil measure. It is the work of the devil. Leave it where it belongs, in New England.
Brother Dickinson, New England has been fighting the devil for more than 100 years.
And up to now, Brother Sherman, the devil has been winning hands down. Why, at this very moment, he is sitting in this Congress. Don't let him deceive you. This proposal is entirely his doing.
It may bear Virginia's name, but it reeks of Adams.
Adams and more Adams. Look at him, ready to lead this continent down the fiery path of total destruction.
Good God! Why can't you acknowledge what already exists? It has been more than a year since Concord and Lexington. Damn it, man, we're at war right now!
You may be at war. You, Boston and John Adams. But you will never speak for Pennsylvania.
Nor for Delaware.
Mr. Reed, you represent only 1/3 of Delaware.
The sensible third, Mr. Rodney.
Sit down, you little roach, or I'll knock you down!
Three of you! Oh, McNair, do something about these damn flies!
McNair, fetch me a mug of rum.
Get the flies first.
Another rum.
I only got 2 hands!
Well, get me the rum.
Christ, it is hot. Oh, gentlemen, please, do go on. You're making the only breeze in Philadelphia.
Mr. Adams, perhaps you could clear something up for me.
After we have achieved independence, who do you propose to govern South Carolina?
The people, of course.
Which people, sir? The people of South Carolina or the people of Massachusetts?
Why don't you admit it, Eddie? You're against independence now, and you always will be.
Aye.
You gentlemen refuse to understand us. We desire independence, yes. For South Carolina, that is our country. And as such, we don't wish it to belong to anyone. Not to England, and not to you.
We intend to be one nation, Rutledge.
A nation of sovereign states, Mr. Adams. United for our mutual protection, but separate for our individual pursuits. That's what we have always understood it to be. And that is what we will support, just as soon as everyone supports it.
There you are, Mr. Adams. You must see that we need time to make certain who we are and where we stand in regard to one another. For if we do not determine the nature of the beast before we set it free, it will end by consuming us all.
For once in your life, Wilson, take a chance. I say the time is now. It may never come again.
Your clock is fast, Mr. Adams. I say we're not yet right for independence.
Not right! Hell, we're rotting for the ones of us.
Gentlemen, please, what in God's name is the infernal hurry? Why must this question be settled now?
What's wrong with now, Mr. Chase?
General Washington is in the field. If he's defeated, as it now appears, he will be inviting the hangman. But if by some miracle he should actually win, well, we can then declare anything we damn please.
The sentiments of North Carolina, precisely.
Has it occurred to either of you that an army needs something to fight for in order to win? A cause, a purpose, a flag of its own?
Mr. Adams, how can a nation of 2 million souls stand up to an empire of 10 million? Think of it, 10 million. How do we compensate for that shortage?
It's simple, Mr. Chase. Increase and multiply.
We will more than compensate with spirit. I tell you, there's a spirit out there with the people that's sadly lacking in this Congress.
Well, yes, of course. Now it's spirit. Why didn't I think of that? No army, no navy, no arms, no ammunition, no treasury, no friends. But bless our souls, spirit. Mr. Lee, Mr. Hopkins, Colonel McKeon, Mr. Rodney, Dr. Frank, why have you chosen to side with this incendiary little man, this Boston radical, this agitator, this demagogue, this madman?
Are you calling me a madman, you fribble? You and your Pennsylvania proprietors, you cool, considerate man, you keep to the rear of every issue, so if we should go under, you'll still remain afloat.
Are you calling me a coward?
Yes, coward,
Madman,
landlord,
lawyer? Wait!
Stop it, I say! The enemy is out there!
No, sir, the enemy is here.
No, he's out there, I say. England, move it in, cut it off out there. There's no time. No time.
Caesar! Caesar! Dr. Hall!
Colonel McKeon,
Aye. It's the cancer. You should go home.
Yes, a man should die in his own bed. John,
I'm here, Caesar.
I leave you in divided Delaware. Forgive me.
Call Caesar. I'll take you home. I'll be back within the week.
Mr. President, South Carolina calls the question.
What's that, Mr. Rutledge?
I said, Mr. President, South Carolina desires to end the debate and calls the question of independence.
Delaware seconds.
The question has been called and seconded. Mr. Secretary, you will record the vote.
Franklin, do something. Think.
I am thinking. Nothing's coming.
All in favor of the resolution on independence as proposed by the colony of Virginia, signify by saying...
Mr. Secretary, would you read the resolution again?
What?
I've forgotten.
Oh, come now.
Resolved. These united colonies are and of a right ought to be...
I beg your pardon. I'm the Reverend John Witherspoon, a new delegate from New Jersey. Dr. Franklin, I regret I must be the bearer of unhappy tidings, but your son, the Royal Governor of New Jersey, is taken prisoner and has been moved under guard to the colony of Connecticut for safekeeping.
Is he unharmed, sir?
When last I heard he was, yes, sir.
Then why the long face? I hear Connecticut is an excellent location. Tell me, why'd they arrest the little bastard?
Our New Jersey legislature has recalled the old delegation to this Congress and has sent a new one.
Quickly, man, where do you stand on independence?
Oh, haven't I made that clear?
No.
I suppose I haven't, but that was the reason for the change. We've been instructed to vote for independence.
Mr. President, Massachusetts is now ready to vote on independence and reminds the chair of its privilege to decide all votes that are deadlocked.
I won't forget, Mr. Adams. The chair welcomes the Reverend Witherspoon and appoints him Congressional chaplain, if you will accept the post.
With much pleasure, sir.
Very well. Mr. Thompson, you may now proceed with the vote on independence.
All in favor of the
Mr.
resolution
President,
on it?
Pennsylvania moves that any vote in favor of independence must be unanimous.
What? I second the motion.
Judge Wilson.
Oh, my God.
No votes ever had to be unanimous, Dickinson, and you know it. Yes, but this one must be. On what ground? That no colony be torn from its mother country without its own consent.
Hear, hear. But it'll never be unanimous, damn it.
If you say so, Mr. Adams.
It has been moved and seconded that the vote on independence must be unanimous in order to carry. All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Yea.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 colonies say yea. All those opposed signify by saying nay.
Nay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 colonies say nay.
Secretary, New York abstains, courteously.
Mr. Livingston, why does New York constantly abstain? Why doesn't New York simply stay in New York? Very well, the vote is tied. The principles of independence have no greater advocate in this Congress than its president. And that's the reason I must join those who vote for unanimity. Don't you see that any colony who opposes independence will be forced to fight on the side of England?
Yes, but
that we'll be sending brother against brother! That our new nation will carry as its emblem the mark of Cain? I can see no other way. Either we must walk together, or together we must stay where we are! Very well then. Proceed, Mr. Thompson.
A unanimous vote being necessary to carry, if any be opposed to the resolution on independence.
Mr. President!
For heaven's sake, let me get through it once.
Mr. President, I move for postponement.
Postponement? I wish you were the same monk that I had with it.
Mr. Adams is right. We need a postponement.
On what grounds?
On what grounds?
Mr. President, how can this Congress vote on independence without a written declaration of some sort defining it?
What sort of declaration?
Well, you know, listing all the reasons for the separation, and our goals and aims, and so on and so forth, etc., etc.
Ditto, ditto.
Ditto, ditto.
We know those, don't we?
Well, good God, yes, we know them, but what about the rest of the world? Certainly, we require the aid of a powerful nation such as France or Spain, and such a declaration would be consistent with European delegacy.
Mr. Adams, you'll have to do better than that. Answer straight. What would be its purpose?
Yes. Well?
To place before mankind the common sense of the subject, in terms so plain and firm as to command their assent.
Mr. Jefferson, are you seriously suggesting that we should publish a paper to all the world declaring that an illegal rebellion is, in fact, a legal one?
Mr. Dickinson, I'm surprised at you. I thought everyone knew that revolution is always legal in the first person, such as our revolution. It is only in the third person, their revolution, that it is illegal. Mr. President, I second the motion to postpone the vote on independence for a period of time sufficient for the writing of a declaration.
Has been moved and seconded. Mr. Thompson.
All in favor of the motion to postpone signify by saying yea.
Yea.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 colonies say yea. Against?
Nay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 colonies say nay.
Mr. Secretary, New York abstains, courteously.
Mr. Livingston, what in hell goes on in New York?
I'm sorry, Mr. President, but the simple fact is that our legislature has never sent us explicit instructions on anything.
Never. That's impossible.
Mr. President, have you ever been present at a meeting of the New York legislature? They speak very fast and very loud, and nobody pays attention to anybody else. The result is that nothing ever gets done. The Congress is pardoned.
My sympathies, Mr. Livingston. The vote again being tied, the chair votes in favor of the postponement. A committee will now be formed to manage the declaration. Said document to be written, debated, and approved by the beginning of July, 3 weeks hence, at which time Virginia's resolution on independence will finally be voted. Is that clear? Very well. Will the following gentlemen please serve on the Declaration Committee? Dr. Franklin, Mr. John Adams, Mr. Sherman, Mr. Livingston, and of course, Mr. Lee.
Oh, excuse me, but I must be returning to the sovereign country of Virginia, as I have been asked to serve there as governor, and therefore I must decline. Respectful Lee.
Very well, Mr. Lee, you're excused. I suppose we could leave it a four-man committee.
No, just a moment, Mr. President. This business needs a Virginian. Therefore, I propose a replacement, Mr. Thomas Jefferson.
No, Mr. Adams, no!
Very well, Mr. Adams. Mr. Jefferson will serve.
But I'm going home to see my wife.
Move to adjourn.
No, wait!
Second.
Moved in
I have
objection.
Yes, I have objection. Objection.
Congress stands adjourned.
All right, gentlemen, let's get on with it. Which of us will write our Declaration of Independence?
Mr. Adams, maybe you should write it. To your legal mind and brilliance we defer.
Is that so? Well, if I'm the one to do it, they'll run their quill pens through it. I'm obnoxious and disliked, you know that, sir.
Yes, I know.
Then I say you should write it, Franklin. Yes, you.
Hell no.
Yes, you, Dr. Franklin. You.
But.
You.
But.
You.
But. Mr. Adams. But, Mr. Adams. The things I write are only light extemporanea. I won't put politics on paper, it's a mania. So I refuse to use the pen in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, refuse to use the pen.
You were never controversial, as it were.
Yes, I know.
Whereas if I'm the one to do it, they'll run their group and through it. I'm obnoxious and disliked, you know that, sir.
Yes, I do.
Then I say you should write it, Roger. Yes, you.
Oh, good heavens, no.
Yes, you, Roger Sherman. You.
What?
You.
You. What? Mr. Adams. But, Mr. Adams, I cannot write with any style of proper etiquette. I don't know a participle from a predicate. I am just a simple cobbler from Connecticut.
Connecticut, Connecticut, a simple company.
Mr. Livingston, maybe you should write it. You have many friends and you're a diplomat.
Oh, that word.
Whereas if I'm the one to do it, they'll run their quill pens through it.
He's obnoxious and disliked, did you know that?
I hadn't heard.
Then I say you should write it, Robert. Yes, you.
Not me, Johnny.
Yes, you, Robert Livingston. You.
Mr. Adams, dear Mr. Adams, I've been presented with a new son by the noble stork. So I am going home to celebrate and pop the cork with all the Livingstons together back in old New York.
New York, New York, Livingston's going to pop our cork.
Mr. Adams, leave me alone!
Mr. Jefferson.
Mr. Adams, I beg you, I've not seen my wife.
As we solemnly declare, we will preserve our liberties, being with one mind resolved to die free men rather than to live slaves. Thomas Jefferson, on the necessity of taking up arms, 1775, magnificent. You're at 10 times better than any man in Congress, including me. For a man of only 33 years, you possess a happy talent for composition and a remarkable felicity of expression. Now, sir, will you be a patriot or a lover?
Lover!
Oh!
But I burn, Mr. A!
So do I, Mr. J!
You do?
John!
Mr. Jefferson, one, I still have my virility. And I can run through Cupid's grove with great agility. But life is more than sexual combustibility.
Bustability, combustibility.
Now you'll write it, Mr. J.
Who will make me, Mr. A?
I.
You?
Yes.
How?
By physical force if necessary. It's your duty, damn it.
Mr. Adams, damn you, Mr. Adams. You're obnoxious and disliked, that cannot be denied. Once again you stand between me and my lovely bride. Lovely bride. Oh, Mr. Adams, you are driving me to homicide.
Homicide, homicide.
Quiet! The choice is yours, Mr. Jefferson. Do as you like with it.
We may see murder, yes.
Damn the man. God damn the man!
Jefferson! Are you finished, man? Well, you've had a whole week. Is it done yet? Can I see it? There comes a time in the lives of men when it becomes necessary for them to advance from that subordination in which they have hitherto remained. This is terrible. Well, where's the rest of it? Do you mean to say it's not finished?
No, sir, I mean to say it's not begun.
Good God. A whole week. The entire Earth was created in a week.
Someday you must tell me how you did it.
Disgusting. Look at him, Franklin. Virginia's most famous lover.
Virginia abstains.
Well, cheer up, Jefferson. Get out of the dumps. It'll come out right, I promise. Now, get back to work. Franklin, tell him to get to work.
He's asleep.
You-halloo, and whose little girl are you? John, who is she? makes you think so?
Because I sent for her.
You what?
Well, it simply occurred to me that the sooner his problem was solved, the sooner our problem was solved.
Good thinking, John. Good thinking.
Madam, may I present myself? John Adams. Adams. John Adams. Oh, and Dr. Franklin. Inventor of the stove. Ah. Jefferson, would you kindly present me to your wife? She is your wife, isn't she?
Of course she is. Look how they fit. Well, come along, John. Come along.
Come along where? There's work to be done.
Yeah, obviously.
Good God. You mean they're going to, in the middle of the afternoon?
Not everyone's from Boston, John.
Incredible.
Well, good night.
Franklin, have you eaten?
Well, no, but
I hear the turkey's fresh at the bunch of grapes.
I have a rendezvous, John. I'd invite you along, but talking makes her nervous.
Incredible. Oh, Abigail. I'm very lonely, Abigail.
Are you, John? Well, then as long as you were sending for wives, why didn't you send for your own?
Don't be unreasonable, Abigail.
Now I'm unreasonable. I must add that to your list.
List?
The catalog of my faults which you included in your last letter.
They were fondly intended, madam.
That I play at cards badly.
A compliment.
That my posture is crooked.
An endearment.
That I read, write, and think too much.
An irony.
That I'm pigeon-toed.
Well, there you have me, Abby. I'm afraid you are pigeon-toed. Come to Philadelphia, Abigail. Please come.
Thank you, John. I do want to. But you know it's not possible now. The children have the measles.
Yes, so you wrote Tom and little Abby.
Only now it's Quincy and Charles. And I'm afraid the farm here in Braintree is failing, John. All the chickens and the geese have died, and the apples never survived the late frost. How do you suppose she managed to get away?
Witches are softer in Virginia.
And they're women, John.
Fit for Virginians, madam. But pale, puny things beside New England girls.
John, I thank you for that.
How goes it with you, Abby?
Not well, John. Not at all well. I live like a nun in a cloister, solitary, celibate. I hate it. And you, John?
I live like a monk in an abbey. Ditto, ditto. I hate it.
Write to me with sentimental effusion. Let me revel in romantic illusion.
Do you still smell of vanilla and spring air? And is my favorite lover's pillow still firm and fair?
Is there, John? Still is there, John? Come soon as you can to my cloister. I've forgotten the feel of your hand.
Soon, madam, we shall romp in Cupid's grove together, and will fondly survey that promised land. Till then, I am as I ever was and ever shall be. Yours,
sir, and so they are. Well, as the French say.
Oh, please, Franklin, spare me your body mind first thing in the morning. Dare we call?
A congressman dares anything. Go ahead.
Me?
Your voice is more piercing, John.
Maybe we'd better come back later.
What?
Well, it's positively indecent.
Oh, John, they're young and they're in love.
Not them, Franklin, us. Standing here, waiting for them to... I mean, what will people think?
Don't worry, John. The history books will clean it up.
It doesn't matter. I won't appear in the history books anyway. Only you. Franklin did this. Franklin did that. Franklin did some other damn thing. Franklin smote the ground, and out sprang George Washington, fully grown and on his horse. Franklin then electrified them with his miraculous lightning rod, and the three of them, Franklin, Washington, and the horse, conducted the entire revolution all by themselves.
I like it. John, look at her. Just look at her.
I am.
She's more magnificent than I remember. Of course, we didn't see much of her front last night. Good morrow, madam.
Good morrow.
Is it the habit in Philadelphia for strangers to shout at ladies from the streets?
Why, no, madam.
And for men of your age, it's not only unseemly, it's unsightly.
Excuse me, madam, but we met last evening.
I spoke to no one last evening.
Indeed, you did not, madam. Nevertheless, we presented ourselves. This is Mr. John Adams, and I am Dr. Franklin, inventor of the stove.
Oh, please. I know your names very well. But you say that you presented yourselves?
It's of no matter, madam. Your thoughts were well taken elsewhere.
My husband is not yet up.
Shall we start again? May we join you, madam?
Yes, of course.
No wonder the man couldn't write. Who could think of independence married to her?
I beg you to forgive me. It is indeed an honor meeting the two greatest men in America.
Certainly the greatest within earshot, anyway.
I am not an idle flatterer, Dr. Franklin. My husband admires you both greatly.
Then we are doubly flattered, for we admire greatly that which your husband admires.
Did you sleep well, madam? I mean, did you lie comfortably? Damn, you know what I mean.
Yes, John, we know what you mean. Tell us a little bit about yourself, madam. We've had precious little information. What's your first name?
Martha.
Ah, Martha. You might at least have told us that. I'm afraid your husband doesn't say very much.
Yes, he's the most silent man in Congress. I've never heard him utter more than 3 sentences together.
Not everyone's a talker, John.
It's true, you know. Tom is not a talker. Oh, he never speaks his passions. He never speaks his views. Whereas other men speak volumes, the man I love is mute. In truth, I can't recall being moved with words at all. Even now.
Oh, go on, madam.
Yes, tell us, how did he win you, Martha, and how does he hold on to such a bounty as you?
Well, surely you've noticed that Tom is a man of many accomplishments. Author, lawyer, architect, farmer, statesman, and still one more that I hesitate to mention.
Don't hesitate, madam. Don't hesitate.
Yes, tell us what else can that red-headed tombstone do?
He plays the violin. He tucks it right under his chin. And he bows, oh he bows, for he knows, yes he knows, that it's diddle-diddle, twixt my heart, Tom and his fiddle, my strings unstrung.
violin, what happens next?
Next, Mr. Adams?
Yes, what does Tom do now?
Why, just what you'd expect. We dance.
That's incredible.
I did really realize it.
Who's playing the violin, Frank?
Oh, John, really? John, you can dance.
We still do a few things in Boston, Franklin. Look, Franklin! He's written something. He's done it! Dear Mr. Adams, I'm taking my wife back to bed. Kindly go away. Your obedient T. Jefferson.
Well, I suppose I should have written the Declaration after all. For at my age, there can be little doubt that the pen is mightier than the sword. For it's high, 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 diddle, diddle. And God bless the man who can fiddle.
And independency. High, 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 high. Ya-ta-ta-ta-ta. Through eternity, he plays the violin, violin, violin.
And what follows is a complete and up-to-date list of all the committees of this Congress now sitting, about to sit, or having just sat. A committee formed to investigate a complaint made against the quality of yeast manufactured at Mr. Henry Pendleton's mill, designated as the Yeast Committee. A committee formed to consider the most effective means of dealing with spies, designated as the Spies Committee. A committee formed to think, perhaps to do, but in any case to gather, to meet, to confer, to talk, and perhaps even to resolve that each rifle regiment be allowed at least one drum and one fife attached to each company, designated as the Drum and Fife Committee.
Look at it, Doctor. Democracy. What Plato called a charming form of government, full of variety and disorder. I never knew Plato had been to Philadelphia.
McNair! Open a damn window!
Pat, I want you to see some of these cards I've gone and had printed up. It ought to save everybody a whole lot of time and effort, considering the epidemic of bad disposition going on around here. Dear sir, you are without any doubt a rogue, a rascal, a villain, a thief, a scoundrel, and a mean, stinking, sniveling, sneaking, pimping, pocket-picking, thrice double-damned, no-good son of a bitch. And you sign your name right here.
Stephen, I'll take a dozen right now.
A committee formed to answer all congressional correspondence designated as the Congressional Correspondence Committee.
All right, Franklin, enough socializing. There's work to be done.
Good morning, John.
Now, good morning, good morning. Now, let's get to it.
Let's get to what?
Well, unanimity, of course. Look at that tally board. 6 nays to win over in a little more than a week.
A committee formed to consider the most effective means of dealing with counterfeit money, designated as the Counterfeit Money Committee.
All right, John, who do we start with?
Well, how about Delaware? It's a sad thing to find her on the wrong side after all this time. Is there any news of Rodney?
McKeon's back.
Ah, Thomas!
A committee formed to study the causes of our military defeat in Canada, designated as the Military Defeat Committee.
How did you leave Caesar? Is he still alive?
Aye, the journey to Dover was fearful hard on him. He never complained, but I could see the poor man was suffering.
But you got him safely home.
I did, but I doubt he'll ever set foot out of it again.
That leaves you and Reed split down the middle. Will he come over?
I don't know. He's a stubborn little snot.
Then we're helping. Keep at him till you wear him down.
Oh, John, face facts, will ya? If it were just Reed standing in our way, it wouldn't be so bad. But look for yourself, man. Pennsylvania, Maryland, the entire South. It's impossible.
No, it's impossible if we stand around complaining about it. Now, to work, McKeon. 1 foot in front of the other.
I believe I put it a better way. Never leave off till tomorrow. That's what you can do.
Shut up, Franklin.
But, John, what good will it do? You know Dickinson, he'll never give in. And you haven't heard the last of Rutledge either.
Now, never mind about that. Your job is Reed. Talk him deaf if you have to, but bring us back Delaware.
There's a simpler way. This will break the tie.
All right, John, who's next?
Committee formed to keep secrets, designated as the Secrets Committee.
Pennsylvania and Maryland. I suggest you try to put your own house in order while I take a crack at old baby face there. Look at stuffing yourself. Now, Mr. Chase. Well, Mr. Chase, when do you come to your senses?
Please, Mr. Adams. Not while I'm eating.
Mr. Wilson, it's time you assert yourself. When you were a judge, how in hell did you ever make a decision?
The decisions I made were all based on legality and precedence. There's no legality here, and certainly no precedence.
Because it's a new idea, you clot. We'll be setting our own precedent.
No, no, no! Damn your eyes, Reed! You came into this world screaming no, and you're determined to leave it the same way!
Congress is waiting on you, Chase. America's waiting. The whole world is waiting. Oh, no, what's that? Kidney?
Leave me alone, Mr. Adams. You're wasting your time. If I thought we could win this war, I'd be in the front of your ranks. But you must know that's impossible. You've heard General Washington's dispatches. His army has fallen apart.
Now, Washington's exaggerating the situation in order to arouse this talk in Congress into action. Why, as chairman of the War Committee, I can tell you for a fact that the Army has never been in better shape. Never have troops been so cheerful. Never have soldiers been more resolute. Never have discipline and training been more spirited. Never have... Oh, good God.
May we have your ears, gentlemen? Mr. Thompson has a dispatch.
From the commander, Army of the United Colonies in New York, dispatch number 1157.
Sweet Jesus!
To the Honorable Congress, John Hancock, President, dear sir. It is with the utmost despair that I must report to you the confusion and disorder that reign in every department.
Sweet Jesus!
The Continental soldier is nothing ever seen in this or any other century. He is a misfit, ignorant of hygiene, destructive, disorderly, and totally disrespectful of rank. Only this last is understandable as there is an incredible reek of stupidity amongst the officers. The situation is most desperate at the New Jersey training ground in New Brunswick, where every able-bodied whore in the colonies has assembled. There are constant reports of drunkenness, desertion, foul language, naked bathing in the Raritan River, and an epidemic of the French disease. to all military personnel with the exception of officers. I beseech the Congress to dispatch the War Committee to this place in the hope of restoring some of the order and discipline we need to survive. Your obedience, G. Washington.
That man would depress a hyena.
Adams, you're chairman of the War Committee. Do you feel up to whoring, drinking, deserting in New Brunswick?
There must be some mistake. I have an aunt who lives in New Brunswick.
You must tell her to keep up the good work. Now, Mr. Adams, can't you see that it's hopeless? Let us recall General Washington and disband the Continental Army before we are overwhelmed.
Yes, the English would like that, wouldn't they?
Why don't you ask them yourself? They ought to be here any minute.
And when they hang you, Mr. Adams, I hope you will put in a good word for the rest of us.
Face facts, Mr. Adams. A handful of drunken, disorderly recruits against the entire British Army, the finest musket men on earth. How can we win? How can we even hope to survive?
Answer me straight, Chase. If you thought we could beat the Redcoats, would Maryland say yea to independence?
Well, I suppose.
No supposing, Chase. Would you or wouldn't you?
Very well, yes, we would.
Then come with me to New Brunswick and see for yourself.
Johnny, you man.
You heard what Washington said. It's a shambles up there.
They're trying to push into it, Johnny.
What do you say, Chase?
Go ahead, Sam. It sounds lively as hell up there.
All right, why not? And maybe it'll be John Adams who comes to his senses.
Mr. President, the War Committee will heed General Washington's request. A party consisting of Mr. Chase, Dr. Franklin, and myself will leave immediately.
Is that satisfactory with you, Dr. Franklin?
Wake up, Franklin. You're going to New Brunswick.
Like hell I am. What for?
The whoring and the drinking.
Come on, Chase. Left, right, left, right, left. Ground, Chase. Left, right, left.
Mr. McNair, all of this talk of independence has left a certain foulness in the air. My friends and I would appreciate it if you could open some windows.
What about the flies?
The windows, Mr. McNair.
Open. Close the windows. Sweet Jesus.
Oh, say, do you see what I see? Congress speak here in sweet serenity. I could cheer, though reason's clear, for the first time in a year. Adams isn't here. And look, the sun is in the sky, the breeze is blowing by, and there's not a single fly. I sing Hosanna, 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 and it's cool. Come ye cool, cool, conservative men, our like may never ever be seen again. We have land, cash in hand, self-command, future plan. Fortune thrives, society survives, in neatly ordered lives, with well-empowered wives. Come sing Hosanna, Hosanna, in our breeding and our manner, we are cool. Come ye cool, cool, considerate set, we'll dance together to the same minuet. To the right, ever to the right, never to the left, forever to the right. Let our creed be never to exceed regulated speed, no matter what the need. Come sing Hosanna, Hosanna, emblazoned on our banner is keep cool. To the right, never to the right, never to the left, forever to the right. Hands attach, tightly latch, everybody match.
I have a new dispatch. From the Commander, Army of the United Colonies in New York, dispatch number 1158. To the Honorable Congress, John Hancock, President. Dear sir, I woke this morning to find that General Howe has landed 25,000 British regulars and Hessian mercenaries on Staten Island, and that the fleet under the command of his brother, Admiral Lord Howe, controls not only the Hudson and East Rivers, but also New York Harbor, which now looks like all of London afloat. I can no longer in good conscience withhold from the Congress my certainty that the British military object at this time is Philadelphia. Happy should I be if I could see the means of preventing them, but at present I confess I do not. Oh, how I wish I'd never seen the Continental Army. I would have done better to retire to the back country and live in a wigwam. Your obedient, T. Washington.
What we do rationally. We never go off half-cocked, not we. Why begin? So we know that we can win, and if we cannot win, why bother to begin? We say this game's not of our choosing. Why should we risk losing? We cool men. Mr. Hancock, you're a man of property. One of us. Why not join us in our minuet? Why do you insist on dancing with Mr. Adams? Lord, sir, you don't even like him.
That is true. He annoys me quite a lot, but still I'd rather trot to Mr. Adams' new cravat.
But why, sir? For personal glory? For your place in history? Be careful, sir. History will brand Mr. Adams and his followers as traitors.
Traitors to what, Mr. Dickinson? The British crown? Or the British half-crown? Fortunately, there are not enough men of property in America to dictate policy.
Perhaps not. But don't forget that most men with nothing would rather protect the possibility of becoming rich than face the reality of being poor. And that is why they will follow us. To the right, never to the right, never to the left, forever to the right, where there's gold, a market that will hold, tradition that is old, reluctant to be bold. I sing Hosanna, Hosanna, in a sane and lucid manner. We are cool, we're the cool, considerate men, whose like may never ever be seen again. We are land, cash in hand, self-command, future plan, and we'll hold to our goal, tradition that is old, reluctant to be bold. We say this game's not of our choosing. Why should we risk losing? We cool, 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 cool,
Sweet Jesus. How'd you like to borrow $1 from one of them? Another rum, General?
General, Lord, I ain't even a corporal.
Yeah, well, what does the Army know? Sit down, gentlemen. The chair declares that it's too damn hot to work. So, what's it like out there, General?
You probably know more than me.
Sitting in here? Sweet Jesus, this is the last place to find out what's going on.
I don't get to join up.
What are you talking about? You don't have to join up. You're in the Congress.
What that got to do with it?
Well, you don't see them running off to get themselves killed now, do you? They're sure good luck to sending others off, I'll tell you that.
Who sits here?
Caesar Rodney, from Delaware. Now, where are you from, General?
Watertown?
Where's that?
Massachusetts.
Oh, then you belong over there. Be careful, though. Something about that chair makes a man awful noisy.
You see that, Biden? Sure did. I see my two best friends get shot dead on the very same day. Right on the village green it was, too. And then when they didn't come home for supper, their mamas went looking for them. Well, Miss Lowe, she found Timothy right off, but Miss Pickett, well, she looked near half the night for Willem, because he'd gone and fell off the green before he died. Mama, hey Mama, come looking for me. I'm here in the meadow by the red maple tree. Mama, hey Mama, look sharp, here I be. Hey, hey, Mama, look sharp. Them soldiers, they fired, oh ma, did we run, but then we turned round as the battle begun. Then I went under, oh ma, am I done? Hey, hey, Mama, look sharp. My eyes are wide open, my face to the sky. Is that you I'm hearing in the tall grass nearby? Mama, come find me before I do die. Hey, hey, Mama, look sharp. Close your eyes, my Billy. Them eyes that cannot see. And I'll bury you, my Billy, beneath the maple tree. And never again will you whisper to me. Hey, hey, oh Mama, look sharp.
The Secretary will now read the report of the Declaration Committee.
Declaration by the representatives of the United States of America, the General Congress Assembly. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth a separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights.
Jefferson, we're back. And we've got Maryland. Well, that is, we will, as soon as Chase gets through telling the Maryland Assembly what we saw in New Brunswick.
He's down there in Annapolis right now, describing a ragtag collection of provincial militiamen who couldn't drill together, train together, or march together. But when a flock of ducks flew over, and they saw their first dinner in 3 full days, sweet Jesus, could they shoot together? It was a slaughter.
They're reading the Declaration.
What? How far they got?
To render the military independent of and superior to the civil power.
Independent of and superior to the civil power.
Well, there's nothing to fear. It's a masterpiece. I am to be congratulated. You. For making him write it.
Ah, yes, of course.
It's a masterpiece, I say. They will cheer every word, every letter.
I wish I felt that way.
I believe I can put it better. Now then attend, as friend to friend, our declaration committee. For us I see immortality
in Philadelphia City.
A farmer, a lawyer, and a sage. A bit gouty in the leg. You know it's quite bizarre to think that here we are, plain midwives to an egg.
Egg? What egg?
Why, America, the birth of a new nation.
If only we knew what sort of a bird it was going to be.
Tom's got a point. What sort of bird should be the symbol of our new America?
The eagle.
The dove.
The turkey.
The eagle.
The dove.
The eagle.
The eagle.
The turkey.
The eagle's a majestic bird.
The eagle is a scavenger, a thief, a coward, and a symbol of more than 10 centuries of European mischief.
And the turkey?
A truly noble bird. A native of America, a source of sustenance to our settlers, and an incredibly brave fellow who would not flinch at attacking an entire regiment of Englishmen single-handed. Therefore, the national bird of America is going to be
the eagle.
The eagle.
We're waiting for the chirp, chirp, chirp
of an eaglet being born. Waiting for the chirp, chirp, chirp on this humid Monday morning in this Congressional incubator.
God knows the temperature's hot enough to hatch a stone, let alone an egg.
We're waiting for the
scratch, scratch, scratch of that tiny little fellow, waiting for the egg to hatch on this humid Monday morning in this Congressional incubator.
God knows the temperature's hot enough to hatch a stone.
But will it hatch an egg?
The Declaration will be a triumph. A triumph. If I was sure of anything, I am sure of that. A triumph. And if it isn't, well, we've still got 4 days left to think of something else. The eagle's going to crack the shell of the egg that England laid.
Yes, sir, we can tell on this humid Monday morning in this Congressional incubator.
And just as Tom here has written, though the shell may belong to Great Britain, the eagle inside belongs to us.
And just as Tom here has written, we say to hell with Great Britain, the eagle inside belongs to us.
states they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. The Congress has heard the report of the Declaration Committee. Are there any who wish to offer amendments, deletions, or alterations to the Declaration?
Mr. President!
Please! McNair, you better open the window. Colonel McKeon, I saw your hand first.
Tom, it's a bonny paper you've written there. But somewhere in it, you've mentioned Scottish and Poland mercenaries sent here to destroy us.
Yes.
Scottish, Tom?
It's in reference to a Highland regiment which stood against us at Boston.
Oh, more likely it was Germans dressed in kilts to disguise their being there. I ask you to remove the word and avoid giving offense to a good people.
Mr. Jefferson.
Aye.
The Reverend Witherspoon?
Mr. Jefferson, nowhere in your document do you mention the Supreme Being. Surely this must be an oversight, for how could we hope to achieve victory without his help? Therefore, I must humbly suggest the following addition to your final sentence. With a firm alliance on the protection of divine providence.
Mr. Reed.
Among your charges against the king, Mr. Jefferson, you accuse him of depriving us the benefits of trial by jury.
That's right.
This is untrue, sir. In Delaware, we have always had trial by jury.
In Massachusetts, we have not.
Then I suggest that the words, in many cases, be added.
Mr. Jefferson.
In many cases. Oh, brilliant! And I suppose every time you see those three words, your puny little chest will swell with pride over your great historical contribution.
It's more memorable than your own personal watch than very.
Mr. Hopkins.
No objections, Johnny. I was just trying to get another drink.
I should have known. McNair, get him a rum. Mr. Bartlett.
Mr. Jefferson, I beg you to remember we still have friends in England. I see no purpose in antagonizing them with such phrases as unfeeling brethren and enemies in war. Our quarrel is with the British king, not the British people.
Be sensible, Bartlett. Remove those phrases and the entire paragraph becomes meaningless. And it so happens it's among one of the most poetic and stirring of any of these high documents.
We're a Congress, Mr. Adams, not a literary society. I ask that the entire paragraph be stricken.
Mr. Jefferson.
Good God, Jefferson, don't you ever intend to speak up for your own work?
I had hoped the work would speak for itself.
Mr. Hancock,
Yes, Mr. McNair.
I can't quite say that I'm very fond of the United States of America as the name for new country.
I don't care what you're fond of. You're not a member of this Congress.
Brother Jefferson, I've noted at least two distinct and direct references to the British Parliament in your declaration. Do you think it wise to alienate this august body in light of our contention that they have never had any direct authority over us anyway?
This is a revolution, damn it! We're going to have to offend somebody!
John, you'll have an attack of apoplexy tonight.
Have you heard what they're doing to it? Have you heard?
Yes,
So far, it's only been our friends. Can you imagine what our enemies will do?
The word parliament will be removed wherever it
They
occurs.
won't be satisfied till they remove one of the F's from Jefferson's name.
Courage, John, it can't last much longer.
Mr. Dickinson?
Mr. Jefferson, I have little interest in your paper, as I've certainly all but heard the last. There is one thing that I'm curious about, though. Why do you refer to King George as a tyrant?
Because he is a tyrant.
I remind you, sir, that this tyrant is still your king.
When a king becomes a tyrant, he thereby breaks the contract binding his subjects to him.
How so?
By taking away their rights.
Rights that came from him in the first place.
All except one. The right to be free comes from nature.
Mr. Wilson, do we in Pennsylvania consider King George a tyrant?
Well, I don't know. If I had... Oh, no. We don't. He's not a tyrant. Not in Pennsylvania.
There, you see, your declaration does not speak for us all. I demand the word Parliament, tyrant, be removed.
Just a moment, Mr. Thompson. I do not consent. The king is a tyrant, whether we say so or not. We may as well say so.
But I already scratched it out.
Then scratch it back in.
Put it back, Mr. Thompson. The king will remain a tyrant. Mr. Hughes.
Mr. Jefferson, nowhere in your paper do you make mention of deep-sea fishing rides.
Fishing rights! How long is this going to go on? We've been sitting here for 3 full days. We have endured by my count 85 separate changes and the removal of close to 400 words. Would you whip and beat it till you break its spirit? I tell you, this paper is a masterful document.
If there are no further changes, then I can assume the report of the
Just a
declaration.
moment, Mr. President.
Look out.
I wonder if we can prevail upon Mr. Thompson to read again a small portion of Mr. Jefferson's declaration. The part beginning, he has waged cruel war.
Mr. Thompson.
He has affected, he has combined, he has advocated, he has blundered, he has constrained, he has excited, he has incited, he has waged cruel war. Here it is. He has waged cruel war against human nature itself and the persons of a distant people who never offended him, captivating and carrying them into slavery in another hemisphere. Determined to keep open a market where men should be bought and sold, he has prostituted...
That was fast, Mr. Thompson. I thank you. Mr. Jefferson, I can't quite make out what it is you're talking about.
Slavery, Mr. Rutledge.
Ah, yes. You're referring to us as slaves of the king.
No, sir. I'm referring to our slaves. Black slaves.
Ah, black slaves. Well, why didn't you say so, sir? Were you trying to hide your meaning?
No, sir.
Just another literary license, then.
If you like.
I don't like it all, Mr. Jefferson. To us in South Carolina, black slavery is our peculiar institution and a cherished way of life.
And nevertheless, we must abolish it. Nothing is more certainly written in the Book of Fate than that this people shall be free.
I am not concerned with Book of Fate right now, Mr. Jefferson. I am more concerned with what's written in your little paper there.
That little paper there deals with freedom for Americans.
Oh, really? Mr. Adams now calling our black slaves Americans. Are they now?
They are. They're people and they're here. If there's any other requirement, I've never heard of it.
Well, they are here, yes, but they are not people, sir. They are property.
No, sir. They are people that are being treated as property. I tell you, the rights of human nature are deeply wounded by this infamous practice.
Well, then, see to your own wounds, Mr. Jefferson, for you are a practitioner, are you not?
I have already resolved to release my slaves.
Then I am sorry, for you have also resolved the ruination of your personal economy.
Oh, economy. Always economy. There's more to this than a filthy purse string, Rutledge. It's an offense against man and God.
It's a stinking business, Mr. Rutledge. A stinking business.
Is it really, Mr. Hopkins? There's what's that I smell floating down from the north. Could it be the aroma of hypocrisy? Who holds the other end of that filthy purse string, Mr. Adams? Our Lord and brethren are feeling a bit tender towards our slaves. They don't keep slaves, no. But they are willing to be considerable carriers of slaves to others. They are willing for the shilling. Oh, haven't you heard, Mr. Adams?
Molasses to rum to slay. What a beautiful
we dance with you in molasses and rum and who sail the ships out of Boston, laden with Bibles and rum? Who drinks a toast to the Ivory Coast? Hail Africa, the slavers have come. New England with Bibles and rum. Then it's off with the rum and the Bibles. Take on the slaves, clink, clink. Then hail and farewell to the smell of the African coast. Molasses to rum to slay. 'Tisn't morals, 'tis money that saves. Shall we dance to the sound of a profitable pound in molasses and rum and slave? Who sail the ships out of Guinea, laden with Bibles and slaves? 'Tis Boston and boast to the West Indies coast. Jamaica, we run what ye crave. Antigua, Bahamas, we run Bibles and slaves. Gentlemen, you mustn't think our northern bred merely see our black slaves as figures on a ledger. Oh, sir, they see them as figures on the book. Notice the faces at auction, gentlemen. White faces on African walls. Put them in the ship. Cram them in the ships. Stuff them in the ships. Hurry, gentlemen. Let the auction begin. Gentlemen, do you hear? That's the cry of the auctioneer. Slaves, gentlemen, black gold, living gold, gold from black moolah, guinea, black gold for sale. Look at the faces in the crowd, gentlemen. White faces. Aces. See, that is aces. Faces from Nantucket, Boston, Boston, Boston. Blackbirds for sale. Handle them, but don't finger them. They're pride, they're pride. For the love of God, Mr. Rutledge, please. Molasses to rum to slaves. Who sailed the ship back to Boston, laden with gold? See it gleam. Whose fortunes are made in the triangle trade? Hail slavery, the New England dream. Mr. Adams, I'll give you a toast. Hail Boston, hail Charleston, who stinking the
Dr. Hall.
Don't worry, they'll be back.
Guy, promote us down.
It's done. Adams, strength in our heavens. And the merry man I told him about one of the greatest military exhibitions in history against a flock of... What's wrong?
You'll have to forgive them, Mr. Chase. They've suffered a slight setback. For after all, what is a man profited if he shall gain Maryland and lose the entire South? Matthew chapter 16, verse 26.
Mr. McNair.
I know, flies.
No. A rum.
Well, what are you just sitting around for? We're wasting time, precious time. Thomas, I want you to ride down into Delaware and pitch back Caesar Rodney.
Johnny and mad. It's 80 miles on horseback, and he's a giant man.
No, he's a patriot.
But what good will it do? The South's done us in.
And suppose they change their minds. Can we get Delaware without Rodney?
God, what a bastardly bunch we are.
Stephen.
I'm going down to the tavern, Johnny. If there's anything I can do for you there, let me know.
Chase, Bartlett.
What's the use, John? The boat's tomorrow morning. There's less than a full day left.
Roger.
Face bags, John. It's finished. I'm sorry, John.
There's no other choice. The slavery clause has got to go.
What are you saying, Franklin?
It's a luxury we cannot afford.
A luxury. 500,000 souls in chains, and Dr. Franklin calls it a luxury. Maybe you should have walked out with the South.
You forget yourself, sir. I founded the first anti-slavery society on this continent.
Don't wave your credentials at me. Perhaps it's time you renew them.
The issue here is independence. Maybe you've forgotten that fact, but I have not. How dare you jeopardize our cause when we have come so far? These men, no matter how much we disagree with them, are not ribbon clerks to be ordered around. They're proud, accomplished men, the cream of their colonies. And whether you like it or not, they and the people they represent will be a part of this new nation you hope to create. So either learn how to live with them, or pack up and go home. But in any case, stop acting like a Boston fishwife.
For God, what's happened to me? John Adams. The great John Adams, wise man of the East. What have I come to? My law practice down the pipe. My farm mortgaged to the hills. At a stage in life when other men prosper, I'm reduced to living in Philadelphia. Oh, Abigail, what am I going to do?
Do, John?
I need your help.
You usually don't ask my advice.
It doesn't appear to be anyone else right now.
Very well, John. What is it?
The entire South has walked out of Congress. George Washington is on the verge of total annihilation. The precious cause for which I have labored these several years has come to nothing. And well, it seems I'm obnoxious and disliked.
Nonsense, John.
That I'm unwilling to face reality.
Oh, foolishness, John.
That I am pig-headed.
Well, there you have me, John. I'm afraid you are pig-headed.
Has it been any kind of a life for you, Abby? God knows I haven't dreamed much.
I never asked you for more. After all, I'm Mrs. John Adams. That's quite a lot for one lifetime.
Is it, Abby?
Well, think of it, John. To be married to the man who was always first in line to be hanged?
Yes. The agitator. Why? You must tell me what it is. I've always been dissatisfied, I know that. But lately, I find that I reek of discontentment. It fills my throat, it floods my brain, and sometimes I fear there is no longer a dream, but only the discontentment.
John, can you really know so little about yourself? And can you think so little of me that you believe I married the man you described? Have you forgotten what you used to say to me? I haven't. Commitment, Abby. Commitment. There are only two creatures of value on the face of this earth. Those with a commitment, and those who require the commitment of others. Do you remember, John?
I remember.
Mr. Adams.
What?
These are for you.
Just a minute, McMahon. What are they? What's in them? Who said that?
Compliments, the Concord ladies' coffee club, and the sisterhood of the Toro Synagogue, and the Friday evening Baptist sewing circle, and the holy Christian sisters of St. Clair, all for you, John. I am as I ever was and never shall be. Yours.
Just a moment, Abigail. What's in those cakes?
Saltpeter, John.
Go out by every damn pin in Philadelphia.
Pin? What sort of pin?
I don't know. Whatever ladies use for their sewing activity. Take these cakes to the armory. Hurry now. Franklin, Jefferson, what are you just sitting around for?
John, didn't you just hear a word I said?
Oh, never mind that. Here's what you've got to do.
John, I'm not even speaking to you.
It's too late for that. Damn it, there's work to be done. Get out of your chair. Jefferson, talk to Rutledge. You're both Southern aristocrats. Gentlemen, if you listen to anyone, he'll listen to you. Franklin, time's running out.
I know. Get out of my chair. Do I have to talk to Wilson?
Yes, you do. Take him away from Dickinson. It's the only way to do it.
I'm still from Massachusetts, John. You know where I stand. I'll do whatever you say.
No. No, you're the president of Congress. You're a fair man, Hancock. Stay that way. Tell me, Mr. Thompson, out of curiosity, do you stand with Dickinson or do you stand with me?
I stand with the general. Lately, I've had the oddest feeling that he's been writing to me. I have been in expectation of receiving a reply on the subject of my last 15 dispatches. Is anybody there? Does anybody care? Is anybody there? Your humble and obedient.
Are you hungry, John?
No, I think I'll stay.
Good night, then.
Is anybody there? anybody care? Does anybody see what I see? They want me to quit. They say, John, give up the fight. Still to England I say, good night, forever good night. For I have crossed the Rubicon. Let the bridge be burned behind me. Come what may, come what may. Commencement! The croakers all say we'll rue the day. They'll be hell to pay in fiery purgatory. Through all the gloom, I can see the rays of ravishing light and glory. Is anybody there? Does anybody care? Does anybody see what I see? I see fireworks. I see the pageant and pomp and parade. I hear the bells ringing out. I hear the cannon roar. I see Americans, all Americans free forevermore. How quiet the chamber is. How silent the chamber is. Is anybody there? Does anybody care? Does anybody see what I see?
Yes, Mr. Adams, I do.
Oh, I didn't know anybody.
Well, I'm sorry if I startled you. I couldn't sleep. In trying to resolve my dilemma, I remembered something that I once read. That a representative owes the people not only his industry, but his judgment. And he betrays them if he sacrifices it to their opinion. It was written by Edmund Burke, a member of the British Parliament.
Gentlemen, the Congress will now vote on Virginia's resolution on independence. Thank you for coming, Caesar. God bless you, sir. The Secretary will call the roll. And I remind you, gentlemen, a single nay vote defeats the motion. Mr. Johnson.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire says yea.
New Hampshire says yea. Massachusetts.
Massachusetts says yea.
Massachusetts says yea. Rhode Island.
Rhode Island says yea.
Rhode Island says yea. Connecticut.
Connecticut says yea.
Connecticut says yea. New York.
New York abstains courteously.
New York abstains
courteously.
New Jersey.
New Jersey says yea.
New Jersey says yea. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania.
Mr. Secretary, Pennsylvania is not yet ready. Come back to us later.
Pennsylvania passes. Delaware?
Delaware by majority vote, aye, says yea.
Well,
Delaware says yea. Maryland?
Maryland says yea.
Maryland says yea. Virginia?
Virginia says yea.
Virginia says yea. North Carolina?
North Carolina yields to South Carolina.
South Carolina?
Well, Mr. Adams? Well, Mr. Rutledge?
You must believe that I will do what I have promised to do.
What do you want, Rutledge?
Remove the offending passage from your declaration.
If we did that, we'd be guilty of what we ourselves are rebelling against.
Nevertheless, remove it, or South Carolina will bury now and forever your dream of independence.
John, I beg you to consider what you're doing.
Mark me, Franklin. If we give in on this issue, posterity will never forgive us.
That's probably true, John, but we won't hear a thing. We'll be long gone. Besides, what will posterity think we were anyway? Demigods? We're men. No more, no less. Trying to get a new nation started against greater odds than a more generous God would have allowed. First things first, John. Independence. America. For if we don't secure that, what difference will the rest make?
Jefferson, say something.
What else is there to do?
Well, man, you're the one who wrote it.
I wrote all of it, Mr. Adams.
There it is, Rutledge. You've got your slavery, little good may it do you. Now vote, damn you.
Mr. Secretary, Fair County of South Carolina says yea.
South Carolina says yea.
North Carolina says yea.
North Carolina says yea. Georgia?
Georgia says yea.
Georgia says yea. Pennsylvania, second call.
Mr. President, Pennsylvania regrets all the inconvenience that such distinguished men as Adams, Franklin, and Jefferson have been put to just now. They might have kept their document intact for all the difference it will make. Mr. President, Pennsylvania
Just
said...
a moment. I ask that the delegation be polled.
Dr. Franklin, don't be absurd.
A poll, Mr. President, is a proper request.
Yes, it is. Poll the delegation, Mr. Thompson.
Dr. Benjamin Franklin.
Yea.
Mr. John Dickinson.
Nay.
Mr. James Wilson. Judge Wilson.
There it is, Mr. Wilson. It's all up to you now. The entire question of American independence rests squarely on your shoulders. A new nation, Mr. Wilson, ready to be born or to die in birth, and all on your say-so. What will it be, Mr. Wilson? Every map maker in the world is waiting your.
Come now, James, nothing has changed. We mustn't let Dr. Franklin create one of his confusions. The question is clear.
Most questions are clear when someone else has to decide them.
It would be a pity for a man who's handed down hundreds of wise decisions from the bench to be remembered only for the one unwise decision he made in Congress.
James, you're keeping everybody waiting. The secretary has called for your vote.
Please, don't push me, John. I know what you want me to do. But Mr. Adams is correct about one thing. I'm the one who'll be remembered for it.
What do you mean?
I'm different from you, John. I'm different from most of the men here. I don't want to be remembered. I just don't want the responsibility.
Yes, well, whether you want it or not, James, there is no way of avoiding it.
Not necessarily. If I go along with them, I'll be only one among dozens. No one will ever remember the name of James Wilson. But if I vote with you, I'll be the man who prevented American independence. I'm sorry, John. I just didn't bargain for that.
And is that how new nations are formed? By a non-entity trying to preserve the anonymity he so richly deserves?
Revolutions come into this world like bastard children, Mr. Dickinson. Half improvised and half compromised. Our side has provided the compromise. Now Judge Wilson is supplying the rest.
James.
I'm sorry, John. My vote is yay.
Pennsylvania says yay. The count being 12 to none with one abstention. The resolution on independence is adopted.
It's done. It's done.
Mr. Thompson, is the declaration ready to be signed?
It is.
Then I suggest we do so. And the chair further proposes for our mutual security and protection that no man be allowed to sit in this Congress without attaching his name to it.
Sorry, Mr. President. I cannot in good conscience sign such a document. I will never stop hoping for our eventual reconciliation with England. But because I regard America no less than does Mr. Adams, I will join the army and fight in her defense. Even though I believe that fight to be hopeless. Goodbye, gentlemen.
Gentlemen of the Congress, I say ye, John Dickinson.
Well, are there any objections to the declaration being adopted as it now stands?
Yes, Mr. Hancock, I have one.
You, Mr. Adams?
Yes. Mr. Jefferson, it so happens the word is unalienable, not inalienable.
I'm sorry, sir. Inalienable is correct.
I happen to be a Harvard graduate, Mr.
And
Jefferson.
I attended William and Mary, Mr.
Please. Mr. Jefferson, will you yield to Mr. Adams' request?
No, sir. I will not.
Oh, very well, I'll withdraw it.
Good for you, John.
I'll speak to the printer about it later.
Gentlemen, we are about to brave the storm in a skiff made of paper. How it will end, God only knows.
It's a pretty large signature, Johnny.
So Fat George in London can read it without his glasses. Step right up, gentlemen. Don't miss your chance to commit treason.
Hancock's right. That paper is our passport to the gallows. But there's no backing out now. Either we hang together or we shall most assuredly hang separately.
Well, in my case, hanging won't be so bad after all. One snap, and it'll be over. Just like that. But look at Reed there. He'll still be dancing a jig long after I'm gone.
Gentlemen, forgive me if I don't join in the merriment. But if we're arrested now, my name is still the only one on the damn thing.
From the Commander, Army of the United Colonies, in New York, dispatch number 1209. To the Honorable Congress, John Hancock, President, dear sir. I can now report that the eve of battle in New York is near at hand. Toward this end, I have ordered the evacuation of Manhattan and directed our defenses to take up stronger positions on the Brooklyn Heights. At the present time, my forces consist entirely of Hazlitt's Delaware militia and Smallwood's Marylanders, a total of 5,000 troops to stand against 25,000 of the enemy. And I begin to notice that many of them are lads under 15 and old men, none of whom could truly be called soldiers. One personal note to Mr. Robert Livingston of New York. I must regretfully report that his estates have been entirely destroyed, but that I have taken the liberty of transporting Mrs. Livingston and 8 of the children to Connecticut and safety. The 4 older boys are now enlisted in the Continental Army. As I write these words, the enemy is plainly in sight beyond the river. How it will end, only Providence can direct. Dear God, what brave men I shall lose before this business ends. Your obedient, G. Washington.
Very well, gentlemen. Mr. McNair, go ring the bell.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Livingston.
to hell with New York. I'll sign it anyway.
Good for you. Stephen, sit down.
No, John. I want to remember the face of each man as he signs.
Very well. Mr. Thompson.
New Hampshire, Dr. Josiah Barton. Massachusetts, Mr. John Adams. Rhode Island, Mr. Stephen Hopkins. Connecticut, Mr. Roger Sherman. New York, Mr. Robert Livingston. New Jersey, the Reverend Jonathan Witherspoon. Pennsylvania, Dr. Benjamin Franklin. Delaware, Mr. Caesar Rodney. Maryland, Mr. Samuel Chase. Virginia, Mr. Thomas Jefferson. North Carolina, Mr. Joseph Hughes. South Carolina, Mr. Edward Rutledge. Georgia, Dr. Lyman Hall.